Welcome, this is Nathan, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where Nigeria formed an empire. Now, out of all the empires I've done, this is definitely one of the remaining countries that I'm shocked I've not done. Obviously there's Canada, there's still Canada, Australia, South Korea, and Indonesia. Those are probably going to be the next couple of empires after Nigeria, maybe. But, again, I said I haven't done a lot of countries in Africa. I mean, I did the main, I would say, like, I did Chad, I did Egypt, I did Morocco, I did South Africa. Chad was more of a meme empire. But seriously, there are a lot of countries here that actually deserve an empire. I'm still looking at, like, 4 countries, 5 countries, 6 countries left in Africa that I think could get an empire. Not gonna say what countries, I don't know if I'm gonna do them because I don't want you to get your hopes up. I mean, this series is I want the series to go into every country in the world that's had an empire, but that's very unlikely. But Nigeria will be forming an empire. They'll be buffed. Every single alliance will be disbanded. So UN, African Union, the AU, African Union, NATO, CS, you get it. And Nigeria's going to be buffed. They're going to have a way stronger military than they normally do. But to be fair, if Nigeria wanted to expand, they probably wouldn't even need a buff. I mean, yeah, there's Algeria, Morocco, and Egypt, and Ethiopia, and DRC, but 2 of those countries have internal problems. And 2 of them are already beefing with each other. I don't think Egypt would really care unless they got to the Nile, which is very unlikely. But where is Nigeria going to begin its expansion? Well, it's pretty obvious. They're going to be invading Benin and Togo at the exact same time. Now, this is their first expansion, so taking on 2 countries at once is not a very good idea, but it's 2 really weak countries. And they absolutely steamroll Benin and Togo with little to no resistance. And almost immediately afterwards, they were, well, they're both fully annexed. Now, this was the easiest invasion Nigeria's gonna have, because now, well, they're not really surrounded by any strong countries. But anyway, they're not gonna stop the tanks rolling this way, because they're gonna keep the tanks rolling straight into Ghana. I think Ghana's definitely stronger than these 2 combined, but I'm considering the fact that Nigeria's buffed, there's no chance. So Nigeria will focus on the coast of Ghana and will be able to successfully take the coast. I believe the capital of Ghana's Accra, or I don't know how you say it, but they will capture that city, and this basically spells defeat for Ghana as they will fully surrender. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. Now, in the peace treaty, Nigeria will not be fully annexing Ghana. They only wanted the coast from Ghana. And this is where their expansion this way is going to stop. They've gained a lot of coastline, and there's no need for them to continue this way. They literally have no more desire to go that way. Instead, they have a desire to roll their tanks into Cameroon. Now, Cameroon, I've never talked about them at all, really, have I? Almost immediately, Ambazonia is just, they literally take it over without any resistance. I think Ambazonia, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost 100% sure. Ambazonia was part of the British colony Nigeria. Don't know why it went over to France, because I'm pretty sure I know for a fact that Ambazonia was part of the Nigerian colony. So I actually need to research why it was ceded over to Cameroon, the French colony, because it wants independence. It doesn't want to be in Cameroon. But Cameroon will absolutely get squashed here. They're probably the strongest country Nigeria's fought yet, but they simply stand no chance. Nigeria will mostly focus on taking out the coast, which they successfully do, and they now go towards the capital, Yaoundé. bro, I'm sorry, the African city names are really weird. I mean, you've got some, like, the capital of Madagascar compared to, like, Freetown and Sierra Leone. But Cameroon will be completely taken over, and let's take a look at this peace treaty. And as we can see in this peace treaty, there is absolutely no mercy for Cameroon. Nigeria fully annexes them, and this kind of sets off an alarm for a lot of countries in Africa. Mostly the weaker ones, but they kind of realise that Nigeria has bigger ambitions. Everyone didn't expect them to fully annex Cameroon. And after they invade Equatorial Guinea, I'm not showing that because you know how it ends. After they do a quick invasion of Equatorial Guinea, we have a group of countries coming together to form a anti-alliance against Nigeria, and this will include of Mali, Burkina Faso, the rest of Ghana, Niger, Chad, and the Ivory Coast. This is kind of annoying for Nigeria. They had plans to invade Chad, and obviously they could steamroll this alliance, but they decided that if they were to declare war on this alliance, it would definitely show the rest of Africa that they're not afraid to use force. And it could definitely lead to, like, Algeria and the DRC to get involved. So what do you do with this huge alliance that just formed up? Well, you invade CAR, or Central African Republic. These guys were thinking about joining the alliance, but they were kind of like, I don't think we're going to get invaded by them. But, yep. Nigerian tanks roll into CAR, but during this invasion, Chad begins to invade CAR. Now, this really aggravates the king of Nigeria. He's like, bro, you're invading our land. Why are you invading our land? And to put it simple, they're air quotes, liberating CAR. And to be fair to the point, I don't think Chad will annex any land from CAR. But we see a split between Chad and Nigeria, which we will now take a look at a peace treaty with. Taking a look at this peace treaty, Nigeria will be annexing about half of the Central African Republic, while the rest of it will be turned into a new. What am I trying to say? It's given a new government, but it joins the new African alliance. So that's annoying. If Nigeria had any ambitions in South Sudan, that's even more annoying. So, they're going to be taking out their rage on Gabon and the Republic of the Congo. Now, these two they were expecting it, but the Republic of the Congo actually that wanted to join this alliance, but they refused. Probably because they didn't think Nigeria would be expanding this much, but oh boy, you've messed up, because they are. Gabon is absolutely turned to nothing but a pile of poop. And the Republic of Congo, well, Brazzaville is lost and they just surrender. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. And they fully annex Nigeria, fully annex the Republic of Congo and Gabon. This is probably the most... See, this is... Alright, I'm trying to make this one different. Nigeria is... I want this to be a more hostile empire. I want this to be an empire that just has no mercy at all. I mean, so far, they've made no puppets. And at this point in the video, they have like 2 puppets, maybe 1 puppet. But Nigeria's been fully annexing half of these countries. No, I'm going to say they probably would have fully annexed Central African Republic or turned into a puppet if it wasn't for the interference of Chad. But, Nigeria, well, the alliance that was going against Nigeria, they've had enough. After seeing that Nigeria is obviously not going to stop until somebody stops them, all these countries will declare war on Nigeria. Maybe not CAR, but ignore that. All these countries will declare war on Nigeria, and not just that, we see the DRC come into this war. Nigeria is completely surrounded except for this ex-slave of Angola. Ignore that. So, what do you do against a war that you're completely surrounded with? Well, Nigeria really isn't going to struggle here. I mean, the DRC is going to be a pain in the side, but they already have their troops located down here. And, well, you have two countries that have been crippled, and then you have five countries that are not doing well internally, and then, well, the DRC, who's, again, not doing well internally. But Nigeria decides that they do want some help with this war. So they look up north to, a friend. Well, not a friend. They go up to Algeria and are like, hey, want a piece of these guys? And Algeria's like, yes, please. And, well, this just kind of, well, let me just say that this kind of drags these two into the war. Morocco will declare war on Algeria, and not long after, we have Mauritania declaring war to get, hopefully, free Western Sahara. Poor Morocco, I feel like I've been bullying them these past couple of episodes of the Empire videos. Anyway, this is going to go really good for Nigeria's team. They have two of the strongest countries in Africa versus the DRC and Morocco, and then a bunch of weak countries. Almost immediately, though, the troops there in Brazzaville will just move out and capture the Congo's capital, which, ouch. Now, Nigeria's, yes, there are troops moving into these lands, but other than, like, securing back Ghana and doing this, comparing that to the fact that Nigeria just took the capital of one of the strongest country, second strongest country on the enemy's team is like, oh poop. Nigeria will now cut off the coast of the DRC, taking the coastline, and now troops will move out, and whatever forces the DRC is trying to put up against, it's just not working. The DRC looks at this war, thinks about it, and is like, okay, yeah, this war ain't gonna work. The second strongest country on the blue team side just left the war. They thought about it, and they're like, okay, yeah, this ain't gonna work, and it's not even worth it. Anyway, troops have been moving up to Central African Republic, and are now invading yet again. And poor Central African Republic literally stands no chance. They get folded within a couple of weeks. How are these guys doing over here? Oh, they've made a little bit more progress, okay. Oh, Burkina Faso's being able to push into Benin and Togo. But Nigerian forces just arrived and have completely taken these guys out. For Morocco, they're definitely going to hold out. They're probably going to be the only remaining country holding out. But we see Western Sahara rebel against Morocco. And we see Algeria begin to invade Morocco, but really struggling. And, well, Mauritania started an invasion of Mali, but it isn't really going anywhere. No fear, though. Here comes Nigeria as they completely wipe out these three countries. Yeah, they wouldn't really stand a chance. They meet up with Mauritania, and Mauritania will take Bamako with the help of them, with the help of Nigerian forces, and with this they completely fold Niger, and at this point Chad and Niger just surrender. Morocco will agree to peace with Algeria, since Algeria definitely helped in these guys, but yeah, that definitely ended quickly. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. And taking a look at the peace treaty, we can see what Nigeria really wanted, and wow, they're huge. This is probably the biggest African, maybe not, I think Algeria was definitely bigger. This is definitely on the bigger scale, but this is what Nigeria wanted. Nigeria wanted. So, this is what they wanted. So, first off, they took a big chunk out of the DRC. They probably would have taken more if the DRC didn't leave the war sooner. They fully annexed Ghana. They annexed a piece of Burkina Faso and Burkina Faso. take a huge chunk out of Chad and Niger. By the way, Mauritania gained some land out of Mali. Algeria gained a little piece of land out of Morocco. Western Sahara was released. Algeria gained land out of Mali and Niger. And for Chad, Central African Republic, and a part of Niger, they're all merged into this weird mess of a puppet. And, well, for the rest of these guys, we see them all unite. Niger and Mali are completely crippled. Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast is fine, but they all decide that it's better off they unite together to help each other. So that totally won't get invaded in the future by Nigeria. But the final thing Nigeria will be doing for this video is forcing Angola to cede over the exclave over here. They probably wouldn't do this, but I don't like it on the map. It's ugly. It needs to go. And that will do it for the Nigerian Empire. Now, don't leave yet. I want to bring up a map. This is Nigeria's empire, by the way. So, this is everything they wanted. They probably would have wanted more, but I'm not going to have them take more. This is what I want to show you. This is the map of all the countries I am given empires. So, every country in green and every country in... Okay, so all the countries in green are countries that have been given empires. All the countries in white have yet to give an empires, except for one. We need to do that. As you can see, there are definitely some countries, notable countries, that should have an empire. If we look at North America, Canada needs an empire. South America, Peru and Bolivia need an empire. Africa, Ethiopia, DRC, Angola, Kenya, Tanzania, Libya, Sudan. Europe, Switzerland, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Netherlands are like the only ones I really want to give an empire there. Asia, when you look at it from a standard view, you're like, oh, a lot of countries have empires, but then you take a deeper look. Bangladesh, Burma, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, Taiwan, South Korea, North Korea. God, there's a lot of countries here that don't have an empire, and there's literally nobody in Oceania has an empire. So who do you want to see on this map who is not green have an empire? Don't say Canada, Australia. Just don't say Canada, Australia, or South Korea, Indonesia. Those are probably the next 4 upcoming empire videos. Don't mention them. But anybody else on this map that's white, tell me if you want them to have an empire or not. But that's gonna be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.